We welcome you to Hopefull Romantics Podcast. That's how every church welcome song sounds.
I've never heard a church welcome song.
I have. And it's always the same thing times 8 lines. And then they just get closer to the people who they actually welcome the whole time.
That's awkward.
Very much so. All right, what's good, y'all? What's up? Welcome back to the Hopefull Romantics Podcast Quarantine Edition. You feel what I'm saying?
Stop. That's not funny. Real. That's not funny.
Oh, yeah. This is a PSA. We actually have been recruited to tell folk to wash their hands for not just 20 seconds, but longer.
It's a minimum, actually, of 20 seconds. Yeah. It's a minimum.
But, like, my thing, and this is what I don't understand, is why don't people like washing? Like, that doesn't feel good to have warm water running over your hands.
Especially when the water gets warm.
Yeah,
you know, where it starts off a little...
like loop,
right?
And then you like,
as you lather, it warms.
It's like a hand shower.
By the end, it's just
But no, people are dirty,
especially during the winter.
People are dirty, so good, but it's okay because look what happens. And to all the folk who used to leave the bathroom in undergrad, no. To all the folk in my dorm, even when I was RA, and I would tell my residents, yo, like, if you use the bathroom, hey, do me a favor. Just throw soap on there and just walk off.
And dry them.
Just walk out. No, I would, bare minimum, just put soap on there. Whatever you do afterwards is up to you. But just so soap makes contact with your palm. Goodness. Whatever you do after that is up to you. But yeah. But welcome back. It's been, what? It hasn't been that long since the last one. We did pretty good.
2 weeks. Yeah.
All right, what are we talking about today, bro?
We are talking about... We didn't even introduce ourselves.
Oh, the people don't know who we are still yet. We still on the come.
We're new.
Oh, I'm Brother Charles.
And my name is Jasmine.
And this is the Hopefull Romantics Podcast.
There we go. Today we're going to be talking about jealousy.
Yes.
We took a poll on our Twitter. What was the poll question? Is jealousy cute within a relationship?
And folk were like, sometimes... And then some folk was like, absolutely
not. But honestly, the poll was a little close. We'll talk about what jealousy looks like in a relationship and how it can be detrimental to a relationship.
Yeah. That sounds good. All right, you want to start off the right way? All right, Father God, in the name of Jesus, we give you praise and honor for this opportunity. Allow us to use our relationship to pour back into the lives of the folk who are watching. Allow us to speak words of wisdom and allow us to always be able to do things that will give you the glory at the end of it all. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. So we're going to start with, what does jealousy look like? So the question on Twitter was pretty open-ended. I didn't want to give too many examples of what would be acceptable forms of jealousy and what are the inappropriate forms of jealousy. But in general, how do we see jealousy in relationships or on the timeline or whatever? Now. Yes. The millennial.
As an example, I just seen someone say that their boyfriend charges his phone in his pocket overnight.
That's a shame.
And that's because, and I guess in that relationship, she consistently checks his phone. So checking phones is like the number one. You said what folk will have like their significant other delete people on social media.
Yes. I've heard of people asking their partner to delete certain people or like a demographic of people off of their social media because they feel some type of way with their partner, either looking or liking certain people's pictures. Don't even make no sense for real. That's crazy to me. Like you just asked them to censor their social media for you.
That's doing too much.
We've seen people in friendships where you have to choose between your partner and a friend.
It's either me or them. And it better be me. It better be me.
Because what if it isn't? That's a whole nother thing.
Oh, well, was it good run? You had a good time? Hope you had fun. That's about it.
Right?
People will do pull-ups. Or quote unquote, like chaperoned outings. Like he's like, I'm coming. Mm-hmm. Oh, bet. Oh, where we going? Oh, I love that spot.
Who's texting us? I told her. Who's texting us?
That's the jokingly one. Like,
but
some people
be
do
serious.
It be like,
be serious.
Ding ding. Oh,
every time your phone, I'm looking over. That's a real thing.
I've seen folk talk about how they put their fingerprint in somebody's phone while they were asleep.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I have my fingerprint in your phone.
But you did it while I was conscious.
You're right. Did I ask?
No, you didn't. But the thing about it is, like, but you did that and you told me and I was
That's
like, okay.
true. It wasn't a level of secrecy or something I was doing to catch you in something.
I think it was like you was using my phone and I was
too
just
often.
Like, you need access.
Right. You're like,
and that's the thing. I remember, what was it? We went somewhere and I let you just like hold my phone for a little bit. And we just do that all the time. It's like, just hold my phone for a sec. Some people would rather like move across country before they let their partner
touch, look, hold the phone. Hold the phone?
Like, hey,
use the phone.
Call my mom right quick. Oh yeah, I got you.
Let me use it.
I'll call her. Like, come on, man. That's too much.
Wow. I never realized the cell phone is
everything.
Sacred thing these days. It's crazy.
That's everything. And then the last one, and really the worst one, is like the cold shoulder when the person that you might be jealous of is hanging out with your partner, and then like all day that day you either not responding to their text or like if you are responding you hit them with the one words or if like y'all stay around each other, like you're not even showing them no type love, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and they know that going into the outing, so like they probably can't even enjoy their time with their friends, and because they know when they get back they got to deal with that type of attitude. So in other words, gaslighting. But we'll get to that.
We got a lot to talk about. But one thing that we wanted to do moving forward in our podcast is finding finding a biblical reference. Because really a lot of the advice that we give on our podcast is deeply rooted in the Bible. It's deeply rooted in scripture. It's deeply rooted within our revelations or just our relationship as individuals with Christ. And then, of course, as a couple.
No, that's true.
So, the scripture that we're going to speak from today, or kind of reference today, is 1 Corinthians 13:4. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs.
I don't think we got to the
this one verse has so many parts in it that we can talk about. Patience, kindness. Ooh. Then we get to envy and being prideful.
Not easily angered, but the one John we didn't even talk about beforehand was no record of wrongs. That's a whole nother
forgiveness. We keep saying we're going to do an episode of forgiveness, but forgiveness and reconciliation. Did we talk about it a little bit? I think a little bit in communication, but keeps no record of wrongs. See, that's a different level of love that people really don't.
I'm gonna forgive, but I'm gonna
never forget.
Like, that's what people are at.
We're taught that. We're really taught that you can forgive someone, but like to a certain extent.
Can you forget?
No, to a certain extent, like I say that we're not called to, or that we are called to forgive and forget, but like, this is a whole nother subject, But the first part that we're going to break down, so we're going to take little pieces out of the scripture.
I'm excited.
The first part is it does not envy. So we looked up the definition of envy, just so we're all coming from the same understanding. Envy is a feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possession, qualities, or luck.
I'll just say by luck, like your situation.
Right. Ooh.
So you will break it down by possession qualities. So, in my opinion, and we talked about this, right? When envy has made its way into your relationship, right? Talking about possession. So in certain situations, and we gonna really come from the realm of a person being jealous of their significant other's friendships, whether it be of the opposite sex or the same sex. But I broke it down as a lot of times, if you're coming into a relationship where your partner hopefully has established friendships, right? That means there's elements of that relationship that you do not have, right? So you're jealous of what they possess. You feel what I'm saying? And with history of friendships and stuff like that, they're going to know things about about your partner that you don't know. Yep, they possess a level of knowledge that you don't have, right? And that can make you jealous. But where you start to get into dangerous territory is when you allow jealousy, like I said, jealousy to cloud your judgment. Yeah. Right? So it's like, it's certain elements of every relationship that are negative. But if you're so pressed on the fact that like, oh, they have this, and this with my partner that I don't have, you miss out on the aspects of your relationship that you do have with your partner. And
the aspects that that person or your partner and that friend might have that you don't want. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason why your partner is with you and not that person. And you miss that when you're so focused on, but they do this, they have this, they've known him for this long, they've known her for this long. Like you get lost in all the things that you're focusing on and you're completely missing. Well, they don't talk often. Like it's simple as that. Like, do you want to be with someone who talks to you weekly? Like,
or do you want to be with someone who is like, y'all can hit it off every once in a while, but like,
if in between this is dead time.
Or like if we talk for too long, we just start bickering. Because a lot of us have friends like that where it's like, I can be around you for a little bit, but after about like 3-4 hours, all right, bro, you starting to get on my nerves. And is that an element of your relationship that you really want to invite in? And I think that's another thing is you have to watch what you're envious of, because what if, right, you really take it to God where it's like, dang, I really wish like I had that in my relationship. And you invite that energy into your relationship and then boom, now you're suffering because of it. You've invited a level of just like different aspects of what you thought you wanted into your relationship. And now you're regretting it because it's not what you thought it was. It wasn't all it was cracked up to be.
And I think we definitely have to preface all of this with, we're speaking about jealousy being rooted in insecurity, which I don't know if there's any other form, like what else jealousy can be rooted in, but we're coming from the understanding that most of the time acts of jealousy is deeply rooted in something that's going on with the person that is jealous. Yeah. Right. So that's when I think about when it says it's not envy, or envious is when you are longing for certain qualities. So basically, should I? Go ahead. Should I? Okay. So there's a situation where I don't deem myself as a jealous person, but we're going to talk about later how jealousy can be a natural feeling. Yeah, for sure. Right? Like we all have insecurities.
It's nothing wrong. You know, sometimes I think because everyone's somewhat insecure in some elements of our lives.
Right. Like we all have areas where we don't feel the strongest in, right? And if my partner is friends with someone that holds that quality, right? That is a quick way, if I'm not rooted in, if I haven't acknowledged those insecurities, or if I haven't had conversations with myself about those insecurities, all of a sudden it's becoming a problem with my partner and that person. Right. And we talked about in the examples of what jealousy can look like in relationships, you having to choose between your partner and this friend, all because of an insecurity that has really only to do with the person who's jealous. Yeah. Like this has nothing to do with your partner. This has nothing to do with that friend necessarily. It has everything to do with this person holds something that I wish I had. Yeah. So now I'm going to make it a problem within my relationship, and I'm going to make it my partner's problem to fix.
For sure. Oof. That's too much. That's too much pressure. That's not fair. And we was talking earlier just about like, you have to do the necessary work internally before you ever present anything to your partner. Like we were saying how before we ever address an issue with us, a lot of times we'll go back and forth internally before we even present it. I'm the type where it's like, all right, before I even say anything, what is really bothering me? And I'll be having full-blown dissertations with myself. Oh, yes. Interrogating myself. Like, whoa, all right, so like this, because she makes, because then I feel like it's constant of that. And then once I get to the point where it's like, all right, I'm repeating myself. I'm coming to the same conclusions. I feel like I've covered all my bases. That's when I'm like, all right, babe, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. But that's only after I've done like a full, thorough deliberation with myself to really analyze what's bothering me truly And even then, sometimes I present it to her prematurely and she'll break stuff down. But at least I've done the work in my mind that's necessary to start that conversation. A lot of folk will just go head on into a conversation, which really is just head on into an argument, right? Do an emotional dump, a thought dump.
Yes, purely based on emotion. And like no thought process behind it.
And as human beings, we do that. Like, let's not get it twisted, but you have to get away from doing that consistently because there's no structure behind that. And you're not going into a conversation with any real goal in mind. Right. You just try to be upset.
Dumb. Yeah.
And then what happens? Your partner's like, I mean, you can feel the way, but like, I don't really know what you
like. What do you want me to do with that information?
And then you like,
right. You haven't even thought through your emotions enough to come up with a solution. Like you just came at me. Right. One question that I ask myself when I have these thorough deliberations, as we call them, is I ask myself, is it fair for me to feel, and then I insert my feeling here. So if I'm feeling jealous, because we're talking about jealousy, I'll say, is it fair for me to feel jealous? Is it fair for me to bring this jealousy to Charles? Like, is it fair for me to bring this anger to Charles? And that question will have you pause and really think about, okay, like, is this an issue I'm having with Charles, or is this an issue I'm having within myself? Yeah. And then from there, if it's an issue I'm having with Charles, then by all means, like, bring it to your partner. But if it's an issue that you're having within yourself, like, you owe it to yourself first. Like, you owe it, like, as a process of healing and a process of getting to know and evolving, like, you owe it to yourself to have that conversation about what is it, like you said, what is it truly that bothers me, because a lot of times, especially when we get into like petty arguments, or when we really try to throw the blame on someone else, all you're doing is talking about a singular situation, never really inviting in the true,
essence of what's going on.
Exactly. And that's what happens when you don't have those conversations, when you're not honest with yourself. All you're doing is talking about a situation. So you have this conversation that turns into an argument. It blows up. Now everyone's upset, but there's no real goal. There's no real growth. It's just, you don't want me to be friends with so-and-so. So now I'm mad with you because I'm losing a friend and you can't even tell me why. You know what I mean?
And I think that's the worst part about jealousy is a lot of times, like I said, it's not your partner versus the problem. You make it your partner versus the problem, and that you give them the task of trying to fix your insecurities, which is an impossible task. Yep. You have to do the work to fix your insecurities. Yeah. That's what it is.
And that goes into love is not self-seeking. To me, I asked Charles like what self-seeking meant before we talked about it. And for me at this point, I feel like self-seeking is when your partner you're using your partner for a selfish goal or whatever. And when you are putting the issue on the issue of your insecurities onto your partner, that is selfish. For sure. And it's an impossible task for you to expect your partner to fix something inside you that you haven't taken the time to fix yourself.
You can't. They can't do it.
They can't, and to me, that is one of the most frustrating parts of jealousy, especially when you may be one of the outside people looking into a situation that just reeks of jealousy. It can be frustrating when maybe you're the other friend. So you're looking at, or you have a friend and their partner says they can't be friends with you anymore.
And it's like, what I do?
So exactly. And it's not even like, what did I do? It's you're allowing what you're going through, your feelings, your insecurities that you've now pushed onto your partner to affect your partner's friendships. To me, that is so infuriating because it's not your job. It's not your role. It's not your place to tell your partner who they can and cannot be friends with, to take friends away from your partner, So to me, it becomes extremely selfish when you haven't, and this is from this, I'm talking from a place of someone who isn't working on their insecurities. You know what I mean? Because this is a process. We all have these things where we either don't like about ourselves or we're working to like on ourselves. That's different. And then it may be in the process and you say something that's wrong and unfair and then you work that out. But I'm talking about a person who isn't working on their insecurities and they push that on their partner, and now it's you versus, or your partner's friend versus you, you know, and the selfishness that comes with that, that should not be present in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, like when we enter into a relationship, the self-seeking or the selfishness of the decisions we make and the things that we allow to come into our relationship, to me, is crucial, you know, because once we make a relationship selfish, it's
not a relationship no more.
It's self-seeking. It's, you know what I mean?
It's not a relationship no more because you're not involving the other party in the process of what y'all are really trying to accomplish together. I think jealousy just it wastes time. It takes away from like precious time that you could be pouring into your partner. Yeah. Because there's no way for you to really pour into someone when you want them to just keep readjusting solely themselves without you doing the work on yourself, which is necessary. And we skipped
we have to circle back to dishonoring others. It does not dishonor others.
And so this flips the coin for folk who are like, but like, what you mean? Like, I can't dictate because they doing this, she doing this, he doing this. Right. All right. So now it's time to talk to the person who might be putting their partner in the situation to where jealousy is low-key an appropriate response to your behavior. Yeah. Right. So it's not like folk are out here just being jealous for no reason all the time. Right. Sometimes people are putting their partner in a position where they should be jealous, honestly. And I think the worst thing that you can do in a relationship, right, is dishonor your partner, because I always say this: love is a myriad of different things. It's an action, right? And one of those things is respect. If you don't respect your person, you don't really love them. Point blank. Because like, honestly and truly, how can you say you love somebody and constantly disrespect them?
Constantly disrespect them.
You know what I'm saying? We all have done things where it's, in hindsight, it's like, whoa, my fault.
Let me bring it back.
And that should be embedded in you if you really care for someone. But if you just constantly are disrespecting somebody off the strength of the fact that you think that you can and are willing to, then you don't really love them. That's not. Or if you say you do, it's tainted and you need to really reevaluate. So I think when you put somebody in a position where it's like, why does this person feel like they are in competition with me? Right? Why does this person feel as though they have the same access to you as I do? Right? Why does this person feel as though they can talk to you a certain way? They can pull up on you at a certain time of night. There should be a specific level and limit to someone's access to you when you are in a relationship, right? In all facets, right? Based off their relationship to you. Someone's mama gonna have a certain type of access to them versus someone's homegirl, right? Right. Someone's daddy gonna have certain access to them versus someone's homeboy. Your level of conversation should be at a certain level if you're in a relationship, right? The amount of time that you're spending with somebody should be at a certain limit and level. You know what I'm saying? Your type of conversation. Why, like your body language, all of that should be calculated, right? And really be intentional if you're really serious about the love that you share with someone. I'll put myself in an example. When I am in a certain fraternity, right? So with that comes a certain expectation when it comes to the opposite sex, right? So as a result, and all my frat brothers will tell you, that I put myself in a certain position to where certain situations don't even present themselves, right? Because I have such honor for this relationship and such respect for the woman who's sitting next to me. Like literally I don't give myself the opportunity or any other party an opportunity to even blur the line, because that's not necessary. And I honor and appreciate this relationship so much to where I wouldn't even think twice about that. And I don't think everyone thinks like that. And I think that it would behoove more people too, because you really taint the opportunity to really grow your relationship when you keep messing things up by putting yourself in a position where you can be compromised time and time again. And then you got your partner out here looking crazy because they're out here looking like number 2 when they should be number 1. Or they shouldn't even have to be number 1 because there's nobody else next to them. They're the only. You don't got to be number 1 when you the only. You feel what I'm saying? So I think that it's necessary to recognize, like, ask yourself the question, with your behavior, are you honoring the person that you connected yourself to? And if the answer is either like or no, then y'all really need to sit down and ask yourself the question, like, do you want to be in a relationship for real? Because if the answer is like, I mean, sometimes, then the answer is no. That's what it is.
That's good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I wanted you to talk about gaslighting because honestly and truly, gaslighting is something that I see I see as in the word. Like, I see gaslighting like on Twitter and I see it on Facebook sometimes, but I'm not completely sure. I know it has something to do with jealousy, but
it's basically what I said though. It's like, let's say you don't like when, let's say I know watching the TV mad loud makes you livid.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
If you're studying, and you like, Charles, please just keep the volume on 21.
And you put it on 22.
And I put it on 22 just to be petty.
Okay.
And just because I know it's going to like make you upset. Imagine that just with different situations. So if it's like, if I know that if I know that you don't like the fact that I talk to a certain person because, like, not only do we have a certain history, but I'm flirtatious in our conversation.
Yes.
And I know that that's going to rile you up. And I like the fact that it's going to rile you up because me doing that makes me feel like I have power over you. And then when you react to it, I act like I'm not even doing anything wrong just to intensify your reaction because for some reason I get a level of satisfaction for that. That is gaslighting 101. Or just to add fuel to the fire, like, I'll make you feel bad for your reaction to my negative behavior. So to flip it all the way around, you'll end up apologizing for having a natural reaction to negative behavior. It is textbook narcissism. If you see any type of behavior like that within your relationship, I suggest that you get out now. Dead serious. Word to Jordan Peele. Get out.
Stop.
Get out. No, because that literally pulls at your self-esteem.
Yeah, I was
your
going to say that. It's capitalizing on your partner's insecurities.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's wild.
And it just repeats the cycle of insecurity. So if by the grace of God, you're able to leave that relationship in your next one, you're going to have to do a lot of work, right? To make sure that you don't bring that type of trauma back out in the way that you interact with your next partner. It's a cycle that you have to break and you have to notice, especially early. Because some people will kind of gradually introduce their partner into the cycle of gaslighting until it's like a couple years in and you're just for real, you're completely used to that type of behavior.
Wow.
So now when they don't do it, you appreciate them more. It's very, very toxic. Very toxic. So we all know someone in a relationship like that, which is unfortunate. But that's something that I think a lot of relationships, especially in our demographic, and it doesn't even have to be in romantic relationships. There's a lot of folk right now, especially with the quarantine and all that. I'm praying for folk who are in living situations with people who they have very toxic relationships for. I'm very much praying for you because I know how hard that can be. Parents can gaslight, relatives can gaslight, siblings can gaslight because, especially family members, because they know triggers better than anybody else. Right. Yeah. So in any type of capacity, always be cognizant of stuff like that. And if you can stay away from people like that, get as far away from them as possible.
See, this is why jealousy needed its own episode.
For sure.
Because it's not, sometimes it is the person who's jealous who is kind of not to blame, but to blame for the jealousy being in the relationship. But sometimes it's just having a relationship with someone who has insecurities that they have voiced and the other partner
just disregarding it.
Right. Taking advantage of the insecurities of your partner to the point where you are purposely bringing them to a place of jealousy. And either both are very destructive to a relationship, and both are kind of make you wonder, like, why are you even here if everything is a threat, or if you're inviting threats within your relationship?
And my thing is, like, what is the end goal of trying to, like, completely... We were talking about, like, when it comes to jealousy and trying to dictate your partner's behavior wholeheartedly in every aspect, we were talking about, what does that really look like? Like, if Jasmine had no friends. Because
in reality, that's weird. It is weird. But, like, so if I'm saying if I'm moving through a place of jealousy or a place of insecurity, and I'm saying, Charles, I need you to delete all of your friends that I feel are a threat to our relationship from your social media. Or if I say, I know you've been friends with such and such for 10 years since the 8th grade, but I don't like her around.
Not feeling it.
Like, it's not working. I'm going to need you to cut her off. To the point where, because honestly, if you are not working on your insecurities, you'll find everything to be a threat. So it may be this friend today. You cut that friend off, and it's that friend tomorrow, and then it's the next friend next week,
and it's your mama on Friday.
But slowly but surely, you are just checking the boxes or crossing out the friends until it is you and your partner against the world, as they say.
That's so dangerous.
Right, because is that true, honestly and truly what you want? Because if it's just me and you against the world, that's no support system. That's no village. That is your advice, your wisdom, your everything coming from one sole individual. And I think people don't understand the level of pressure that puts on you. Like,
even
I couldn't imagine being the source of your everything.
That's not even what man was designed for. Man and women were designed for. Even God is the
right.
Is the
like,
Father,
first of all,
it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. They even broke it up into 3. So what makes you think that you could do it by yourself?
Yeah.
No, for real. Like, it's the beauty of a village. Like, I'm so appreciative of my village and the myriad of people that fall within that umbrella that I have built from, like, elementary school. There's friends that I have from elementary school that literally... I don't have any friends from I mean... Sorry, go ahead. But you built yours. Okay, yeah. And I built mine. But I'm saying, like, there's years and history and memories and just laughter and all these different elements of all these friendships that I have, right, that I value and that bring so much to my life, positive things to my life. And I get so many different things from so many different people.
Yes.
And just because I have those relationships doesn't mean that they have to supersede ours.
Or that they take away.
They can just add to my experience as a human being. And who wants that one friend? Yeah. Or just one, like, that's...
Yeah, like, oh my gosh.
That's boring.
Going back to love languages, if you are your person's sole source, and let's say your person's love language is quality time, physical touch, literally anything, gifts? Like, could you imagine? Like, the level of stress you would be under to meet those standards.
How quality is your quality time if it's 24/7?
20. Like,
babe.
Can we go? Oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh. But some of y'all are really acting like your actions make it seem like that's your goal. If you're cutting off every friend, you can't hang out here. I have to go with you here. Like, it's us, it's we. That's the end result of that. Is you and your partner, and that's it.
And someone's going to be left empty. You might be full from that situation, as weird as you may be.
Honestly, I think they'll be the ones who are going to be empty. Because you don't understand. Like, you're just pouring.
I don't know.
Just pouring. Just pouring. That's it. Just pouring.
I think in any situation, though, someone's going to be left empty. Yeah. And that's not what you want in a relationship, because no one's going to be able to give if they're empty. All right, you got your partner to get rid of any and everybody. Prayers to that person for even doing that, but whatever. You got them to get rid of everybody. Now they just have you. And now what? Now they can't even be as good of a partner as they could be to you, because they don't have anybody else to lean on. So when you're messing up, because you seem like a terrible person if you made your partner, no, for real, you seem like a sucky person if you made your partner cut off everybody. So now, right, they're struggling because they're in a relationship with a sucky person. And now you're wondering, like, no, for real, no, we're going to call a spade a spade. And now you're wondering why they're not talking to you in the way that you need them to talk to you. They don't want to hang out with you. They don't want to be around you. And
they resent you.
Yeah. You forced them to build up resentment towards you, when in reality, you could have just let them go frolic and be free. They only be liking your pictures on Instagram.
You're the only person they follow. Just scrolling through your pictures.
It ain't even no timeline. It's a time post. Ain't no line. You ain't post today, so they don't got nothing to look at. Like,
oh my goodness.
No, I'm saying, like, that is, so many people right now are in situations that they don't need to be, solely because they haven't done the work on themselves. They're relying on their partner to make them happy. They're relying on the partner. They're on the you complete me stage.
Oh my goodness. That is a whole nother thing we've not talked about.
If that's where you at, you really need to do some recollection.
Like, you are my peace. You are my joy.
Like, when people be like, ooh, when someone got they person say this, my oxygen. my oxygen. My everything.
Like, let's just, that's the one. My everything.
They can be a lot. They can be anything.
They could be a part.
They could be they can be 7 out of 8, but don't make them 8 out of 8. You feel me?
Everything.
That's dangerous. Because that means you're putting everything into one person,
into a human,
and we know where we're really supposed to get our help from. That's not a good combination.
For sure.
It's just a caveat, though. You don't gotta listen to us. We ain't licensed to nothing like that.
Wait, can we talk about that for a second? Because my everything. One thing that I always think about when I see things like that, my everything, my oxygen, my joy, my peace, my whatever, insert word here, that should not be coming directly, should not be
solely coming
rooted in a human being, is that everyone on this earth is going to disappoint you at some point, at some level. Like, we are all flawed by nature, so that means at some time, in some moment, another person is going to say something you don't like, do something you don't like. Now, there's a spectrum, like there's some things that you don't come back from, but there are small things. Like, Charles has said things to me in a way that hurt my feelings, or he's done things that aren't egregious, but they're things that I wouldn't have wanted him to do.
And vice versa.
Right. Okay. But no, seriously, like that's what, when you connect yourself with another person, like, that is what happens, because two flawed people coming together does not make a perfect situation. It makes yet another flawed, yet a little bit bigger situation, right? Sure. But when you say you are my everything, you're really setting yourself up to be devastated.
So what happens when your everything disappoints you?
Is
everything disappointed?
Like, but that's really, and I see it, and we see it, and I've probably experienced it at some point, when you put too much into a person, and then when that person inevitably disappoints you or hurts you or whatever, leaves or whatever, even if it's a situation where you're in a relationship and you put your all into it, and this person has pulled you out of something dark and has like really given you hope. So they become your hope. And then the season ends. So maybe nothing necessarily happened, but it fizzles out. You're no longer together. Now you're lost. Now you're not alone. You're lonely. You know what I mean? You're not sad. You're depressed. Like, that person has taken something that they really shouldn't have been
able to do.
They shouldn't have been what was giving you those things to begin with. You know what I mean?
There should have been a means to it.
Right. Yeah. Or just like a person can help you remember, or help you experience hope.
Or help
peace,
plant the seed.
Joy. Yes, but they cannot be the source, because that is only going to land you in the position where you're feeling like you cannot without that person.
Yeah. And we've all seen that from high school to college. Folk will break up and you would think that somebody died. Oh
my goodness. It's hard to see, and it's very hard to experience. To even think, especially at a young age when we can't see past, what's going on. People really go through it.
I can't live without I can't live without them.
I can't live without you. I don't know
what I'm going to do.
I can't live without you.
You can. It's going to be hard. But you can. And I know folk is nah, y'all missing the mark. Y'all missing the mark for real.
But you don't know. Listen, this is my person, period. Period, point blank, period. Okay. But for me, and what I always, and I'll even, you guys can scroll through my posts. You can look through the captions I say about Charles. One thing I always say is, I either say he adds to my joy, but I always say that we love from our overflow. So our person doesn't, how do I say this? Loving from your overflow means that something else besides people or besides the world or something outside of something you can touch fills you up. And once you're filled with joy and peace and kindness and self-control and all of the fruits of the Spirit, once you're filled, from the overflow is where you give to other people. And that's where the saying comes from. If you can't give if you're empty. You can't give if you're empty, because you're supposed to give when your source is not of others. Yeah. Does that make sense?
I think one thing that folk make the mistake of doing is giving their significant other the credit that they're supposed to give to God.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to love, because God is love.
Yep.
Right? So when I say I am extremely in love with Jasmine Hill, right, I say it from a place of, with the love that God has for me and God has placed in me, there is a designated part of love that I can dedicate to loving her. And because I have the overflow and the abundance of love that comes from God, I'm able to love her like Christ loved the church.
And you're able to see what joy and peace look like within a relationship when you're filled with love and joy and peace from God. You know what I mean? When you know what joy is, when you know what peace is from an unwavering, non-judgmental, the creator, when you know what those things feel like from a supernatural source, when you're looking to another person, this is what joy is. You know what I mean? You're adding to my joy. You're adding to my peace. You're not. And if it doesn't look like the way that my father gives me peace and my father gives me joy, then that's when you see, well, this probably isn't it. This probably isn't something that's good for me, that's healthy for me. That's what is designed to fill this place of earthly love within my heart, And
in this relationship, I know that when I'm not tapped into God, and when I'm not feeling the fullness and all the love and all the joy that I get from him, that directly translates into me struggling within the relationship. So I think that you have to reel it back and recognize that side by side, that is not where you should be getting fed. It should be up and down. You should be getting it straight from heaven, and then you should be distributing it to your partner. And I think that's where people go wrong. So if you feel like you never fully get that joy, if you never fully get that peace, that patience, you're looking and searching for it in the wrong place.
In the wrong place. That was a huge thing.
I think it was kind of a deviation, but I think it's important that we start really breaking down the foundation.
Oh, for sure.
Of what people really need to be looking for and looking at when they're really searching for love.
Yeah.
Because if we keep missing the mark on where love truly comes from and how love should truly feel,
what it looks like,
then folk are still going to be in the same situation.
Yes. And I say that to a lot of people who maybe you're looking and you're dating and it's just not working, and maybe you're a spiritual person, so you're thinking, God, where is my mate? Where is my partner? Or like, is God telling me I'm not ready? Or I always suggest, or I always feel that, and this is from a place of experience, but before me and Charles started dating, I was over dating. And I think I've said this, I was over dating. It was just too much at that point. I was going into my senior year. Like, I had goals, I had things that I needed to get done, and these little boys were just in the way, and
in the way. Yes.
And it wasn't until I got really serious about my faith and my walk, and I started to experience the fruit. We should talk about the fruits of the Spirit, but the fruits of the Spirit, in absence of another person, that I was introduced to someone who was going to add to my fruits of the Spirit, And sometimes I feel like God doesn't let us meet our person until we know what love looks like from Him, because then and only then can you be so secure in what this earthly person is bringing to you. Like, could I fully know, like, and can I fully rest in you giving me peace if I know that without you I still have peace? Can I fully rest in the fact that you add to my joy, knowing that if something were to happen, or just like by myself as an individual, I still have joy without you? Because I think when we don't have that foundation, and we're out here looking for people, we quickly can get connected to someone who gives us something that looks like joy, that looks like peace, and that's it. Like, we lock it down, and that's never really knowing that the fullness is something completely different, something that doesn't waver, something that forgives and forget. You know what I mean? Something that truly, in a non-judgmental way, loves you. And unless you feel that, it's very hard to know without a shadow of a doubt that person is your person. Yeah.
That's good, man.
Yeah, we went all the way around.
But all of that, I don't even think we did, because all of that goes back into being secure within yourself.
Oh yeah, that's
because
for sure. That's
if you are looking for a level of satisfaction and sustenance from mere people, then you are setting yourself up to be disappointed. You're setting yourself up to have unfulfilled insecurities, right? Yep. And all of that is just a breeding ground for jealousy. It's a breeding ground for just being gaslit or doing the gaslighting yourself. It's just a breeding ground for a relationship that is just not going to grow. But I don't say that without saying, like, the process of finding that peace, finding that joy can happen while in a relationship.
Oh, for sure.
You feel what I'm saying?
Sure.
It all doesn't happen. You don't have to cross all these T's, dot all these I's.
It does not happen in a linear.
Before your person comes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be like, all right, I'm starting to feel the joy, Jesus. Is that peace?
And then,
is that peace, Jesus?
Yeah.
Is this a person, Jesus? All of that can happen within a week's time.
That's very true. Because it was quick, actually. Because, like, I was out of a relationship in April, and then back in one in July. It was quick.
I'm not going to do my timeline.
It was basically the same.
It was
maybe a little earlier.
I had started my process in Jesus' name, and Jasmine came along and helped me with that process, and it's still continuing.
That's true.
To help me with that process, because we knocking on 3 years in Jesus' name, and there has really been like moments and seasons where it's like, oh, I am completely tapped in to the purpose that God has for my life. I'm feeling all the fruits. I'm reaping all the benefits. It's harvest out here in these streets. And then it's like, oh, Jesus, is this a famine? Feeling a little bit of a drought, Lord. It's a little dry down here. I need some more direction. Please send me some seeds.
Oh my goodness. That is so true.
In the meantime, I am still connected to this person and I'm still willing and able to do the work to make sure that at least this soil is not rocky and this soil is planted on good ground. You feel what I'm saying? But that's only because I know that this is God ordained and she is heaven sent. But if I was in a position or in a situation where I was iffy about that, I'd be all messed up.
Yeah.
But that's in combination with if I was looking to her to fulfill all of these things and to answer all of those questions.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're asking the wrong person the wrong questions.
Yeah.
And expecting the right answers.
Yeah.
And when they come up short, which they will, we're back to square one.
And we don't know how to get, That's true. That's true.
So, all right. So we have to answer the question: how do folk come out of jealousy, and how do folk work on insecurities if they're currently experiencing these things, but they want to continue their relationship?
For me, because like I said, we all are challenged with some level of insecurity. Mm-hmm. For me, even though I'm in a relationship, I find it very important to not focus on, but have a level of focus on like who I am and where I'm going and how I feel about myself. Mm. It first starts with a mindset. Like if you're in the mindset that I'm still evolving, I'm still growing, like I'm still reflecting on who I am and trying to be the best version of who I'm meant to be, you'll recognize those insecurities, one. And after you recognize them, there's lots of things. Like if you're a journaler, like journal, like, why do I feel this way? Like, like what, trying to maybe go back and see, like, is this a result of something happening? Is it a result of someone making me feel this way? Like, why have I come to the place where I have this insecurity, And after you really dig into the reflection part of it, like, now what can I do? And a lot of times it's self-talk, like if it's a quality thing and you're saying, I want this quality, or this quality will make me better, and you're seeing this in another person and that's bringing out a jealous part of you, maybe think about like, we all have and don't have for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily need that quality, even if it's something that I think will make me better. Like, I don't necessarily need it. Like, I have everything I need, and the things that I don't want, like, we work on having those things display a little less than the things that we want, But I think it starts with reflection.
You're talking about our negative qualities.
Yes.
Okay.
Like,
for sure.
Yes. So, and that comes with self-control and just like practice, really. But I would say reflect on it, and then it's practicing healthy, positive self-talk in regard to the things that you may not want to continue to experience, or the things you may not want to continue to feel. And honestly, positive self-talk is a daily practice. I do a lot of Bible devotionals, and it talks a lot about how we pray for certain things to be gone. Fear is an example, or a character trait could be an example. But in reality, like, most of these things are things that we're going to continue to experience, and it's going to take a level of practice in order to not let those things dictate our actions, So if you know that you're constantly have feelings of not feeling like enough, the second that thought comes across, like, it's your job to combat that with, no, I am enough, or I may not like this, but I'm working on it, you know, or like, I know I'm growing into being a better version of myself, or I know I'm growing. So it's okay that I'm not this or that I'm not that, you know, but not letting that self-talk or not letting those negative thoughts or those insecurities build so much in your mind that you're continuing to believe those insecurities. So reflection and positive. It's a daily practice. Like it is a daily practice. Like, and I find myself doing a lot of positive self-talk when I'm driving because my mind is wandering. When you drive, like you really be thinking about anything and everything. My commute is about 35 to 40 minutes on any given day.
What?
Yeah, 35 to 40 minutes. I know.
I didn't be traffic.
A mess. But like your mind can wander a lot of places in 40 minutes, you know, and it's kind of the only time, not the only time in the day, but it's a significant part of the day, that I'm not talking to anyone else, you know, I'm not really doing anything besides driving, where when a thought comes up, I can really practice, you know, okay, we're going to stop it right there and we're going to think about something more positive, or we're going to stop it right there and we're going to say the opposite of what I just thought, you know? So, positive self-talk is everything. Because the more you say the positive things to yourself, the more you are going to believe it. And the negative thoughts will diminish. You know, you may not be able to completely get rid of these insecurities, but like practice makes better.
Practice makes permanent for real.
Yeah.
I think once you begin to really start a process, like it becomes habit, and then it becomes lifestyle.
Yes, habit.
And
that's the goal, really.
If you can transition that joint into positive habits, positive lifestyle,
positive thoughts, yeah,
you got nothing to worry about. I think that in combination with, so like once you begin to start the process of doing the internal work, I think now it's time to start doing the conversational work and kind of like the side by side teamwork that's necessary. I think that, folk is about to be in the crib for a minute.
Perfect time.
You know what I'm saying?
Sog it up.
That Rona. So if you are in the position to be next to your partner for these next few weeks, like, and you feel like there is something that is in between y'all's relationship, open up the floor, honestly and truly, and have an intentional conversation. Notice I did not say argument.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't just say conversation. I said an intentional conversation with the end goal. It's like, I'm going into this conversation hoping that we can get to this certain point and to this level of understanding, because there is an issue, right, that is blocking us from having the most positive, uplifting, beneficial relationship possible. And I care about you and you care about me. And if we are going to really do this thing, then we need to be intentional in the way that we have this conversation for the opportunity of healing. I think that not enough relationships, not enough people are having conversations that are intentional with the folks that they care about the most. And I think that it leaves so much on the table, and it does away with so many opportunities for healing. Just because there's an issue doesn't mean it has to be there forever.
Yeah.
Right. And just because it stems from trauma, levels of toxicity that have been long lasting doesn't mean that they can't be done away with.
Yeah.
It just has to be gradual, right? Consistent, and mostly, like I said, intentional. Like, yo, if I have a level of insecurity and an activity or an action that you do gaslights it, if you're not intentionally doing it, that means that I'm taking it in a certain way.
Right.
And that you are actually not even cognizant of what's going on. Right. So a conversation can help with that. If I feel as though a relationship that you're having with someone is detrimental to your safety or your well-being, it's not even coming from a level of jealousy. It's coming from a level of care and protection. So there's things that are being misconstrued, and there's a level of understanding that's there waiting for us after a conversation. If I feel as though that you're doing something to intentionally hurt me, and I'm under the impression that you actually care about me, and you're doing a consistent behavior that hasn't changed, then now I have to come to a level of understanding if you truly care about me or not.
Yeah.
There's all of these things that can be concluded from conversation. And I think that it's absolutely necessary that we stop beating around the bush.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Talking about everything but the subject at hand, the subject matter at hand. And really sitting down with these folk that we hold near and dear to our hearts and having that real one-on-one.
Yeah.
And until we start that process, until we make that a norm, then people are going to be stuck in relationships and situationships that should have ended a long time ago.
Yeah.
Not just talking about relationships that should have ended, just situations. Because once a situation ends, that could be overlooming your whole relationship. Your relationship can be onward and upward. But if there's something blocking you along the way,
right,
until it's gone, you can't move up. So yeah.
That was a lot in one episode.
It was, but we got that jump.
We did.
Within an hour.
We did.
For sure.
We did.
But yeah, I think we got some things that folk can walk away with.
For sure.
Peace and blessings as you quarantine.
Yes, please stay safe. Wash your hands. Stop taking these impromptu trips.
Yeah. Yes, we know Spirit got.
I know.
Spirit
it's $40.
Spirit got the flights for sub 30 somewhere.
We get it.
I'm starting to think that they're just pushing people out the plane and not even landing. But like,
no, but seriously, like, it's a serious situation, and I know, you can really go to
anywhere,
wherever for $50 round trip for a week. But let's stay as safe as possible, please.
And take other people into account.
Exactly.
That's really what it
like
is.
You may feel healthy, you really might be, but then you might not be. You
want to go to your grandmother's house and you got your granny sick.
Yeah.
She's been kicking for 80 years and you're the one that did it run.
Exactly. We're also praying for all the people who are, there's a lot of people who are negatively affected by this financially. Children who are affected by this and the meals that they normally get from school and the safety that they normally get from going to school. So we're definitely praying for, all of us in the situation, and hopefully there is a radical and a rapid move so that, this isn't as long as they're saying, and that we all stay as safe as possible.
And for the super sanctified saints who are taking no precautions because God is above any virus, I need you to know that faith without works is dead.
And the works is washing your hands and staying quarantined when you're asked to
Don't
be.
test God.
Please don't.
He's going to let the Rona get you just to teach you a lesson. Then what? Please like, subscribe, share.
We finally have a Twitter.
Oh, and that joint kind of jumping.
It really is. So follow us on Twitter at the Hopefull Romantics. There's no underscore or anything, is it? I think it's just...
We'll put that in the description.
Okay. But we put out a poll every now and then, just a poll, like either something that we're going to talk about or something that we've heard or something in popular media or whatever. They're pretty entertaining. Some of them are a little spicy, as we call them. And some of them are going to be a little bit more emotional. But it's just a quick way or a good way to kind of keep connected and talk about some real situations in regards to relationships and loving other people. So...
As always, if you have any questions, concerns, prayer requests, send them to the DMs on all platforms. Yes. You feel me? We'll respond to you. You might even hear about it in one of the episodes.
With your permission, of course.
Of course. Yeah. So thorough. But yeah, until next time, this has been the Hopefull Romantics Podcast.
Love y'all.
Stay hopeful.
So we just finished an episode about jealousy. But one thing we did not talk about was, what do you do when you're friends with someone who...
What do you do when your back's
What do you do? Actually, no, there's two things we didn't talk about. Two questions. Okay. First question is, what do you guys sit up? Okay, first question is... Mine is too. Like, we should definitely...
We sit back.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the first question was... what do you do when you are in a relationship with someone who is friends with an ex? Their friend is an ex.
I mean,
because I feel like
okay.
I feel like when it comes to, because we talked about choosing your friend versus your partner. you know. And a lot of times, sometimes it's just a pure, like, your partner feels threatened, they tell you they don't want to be friends with them. But sometimes people feel like if you are friends with an ex or friends with someone that you used to be involved with at any capacity, that your partner kind of has the right, or they kind of, or it makes sense where they say you can't be friends with that person. And some people really feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
You should not be friends with that person. So in an ideal, a healthy relationship, what does that look like? How can that look?
Them deading them or the conversation?
Like,
and by deading, I mean cutting off all correspondence and communication.
I mean, is it right? Is it wrong?
I think that, and I hate to be this person, but it depends on the situation. Simply because there's different levels of security. I'll do it from best case to worst case.
Okay.
Best case scenario. All right. 2 parties, both secure within themselves. One party is cool with an, I'll call it a previous fling. I won't even call it a ex.
Okay.
Right? It's just like, oh yeah, we used to hook up, blase. Always been a homie, didn't work out. We just hang out now. Right. The question is,
which I feel like is a lot of situations. Like,
especially
the way dating happens.
We broke this down. If you're an attractive individual, chances are you're out here.
Somebody else is gonna find you attractive.
Somebody else is gonna find you attractive, and chances are that you're around other attractive people. 1 + 1 equals 2.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, like, you can't go into a relationship thinking that your partner was out here just waiting for you solely from birth until y'all met.
No one else.
You know what I'm saying? And if your partner is a dope individual, chances are, like, everyone who messes with them isn't going to want to get as far as humanly possible.
That's true.
Away from them, even after being involved with them. Every situation doesn't have to end.
Oh, can we pause there? Yes. No.
I don't know.
No, I was saying that was one thing that we talked about. We didn't talk about in the episode. Was a lot of people feel like when something ends, like, it has to be like disastrous or whatever. Like,
it could really be all love afterwards.
It really could be. Like, and I guess that is where it is. Like, of course, like, you're probably not friends with someone that it ended badly with. But if you're still, like, very good friends with this person, like, is it fair for the person to be like, nope, that's it?
Like, I'm going to choose for you, and the answer is no. Like, that's
we're
not
no longer
fair.
Friends.
That's champ. That's really
we're
like
no longer friends.
That's really not cool, because it takes away from who your person is. It takes away from the relationships that they built, and, like, if you're, this is all hypothetical, because if you're secure within yourself, you move different than somebody who's not. So we're gonna take it to the worst case scenario. I think that the culmination of the best case scenario is you take the situation for what it is. You trust your partner. I think the biggest question is, do you trust your partner?
Do you trust your partner?
Is your partner behaving in a way that
is trustworthy,
that showcases trust, is trustworthy? If the answers to all these questions are yes,
you're
keep
fine.
it pushing,
you're really fine,
and you're not even batting an eye.
Why are you bothered? It didn't work out. Oh, let me stop.
No, but there's a pandemic out here. There's a pandemic out here in the streets.
And you worry about somebody that's not even worried about you.
It's not even the corona. It's folk doing too much. That's a pandemic that has been going on for decades. There's no need to do too much. You feel what I'm saying? Situations don't always call for all that. It just calls for all of this. Just a little bit of that. Not all that. So worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, right? You got somebody who, let's say, all they did was kiss them.
It's a
little jump. A little bit of the wet mouth. You feel what I'm saying? Words of Martin. But that was all it was. But your insecurities are deep. They raw.
Deep.
There's nowhere near any type of healing.
None.
So
we're not even
any person of the opposite sex, or any person of whatever demographic that your person might be attracted to,
is a threat.
Get them out of there.
Is a threat.
You know what? Everybody. From the rooter to the tutor, they mama, they grandmama, they uncle, they dog. It don't matter. If it ain't you,
it ain't it.
So my thing is, we already said this, that can't sustain itself.
Yeah.
And you're weird. No. Because, no, I don't care. Because, why would you this is what's going to happen. This is the flip. You ready? You go from being like this person's sole reason for existing to being the bane of their existence. That's the fine line. And you're walking it by establishing that line. If you make someone cut off everybody in their life, right? And you make them solely depend on you for everything, they go from being like, oh, you're my light to your darkness.
No.
You are what's the Little Rascals joke? You are the scum between my toes. Yeah. Something like that. Like all of that. You go from being everything to nothing. Just like that. But that's what you wanted. Right. That's what you painted. Right. That's what you created. That's what you act like. So you go ahead, sit on it. Sit in it and enjoy it.
You're really playing.
I'm not. I'm dead serious. I know. Because that's the severity of the situation that people place themselves in. You put your person in such a compromised and ugly and heavy position for what?
And I asked this question, of course, with an answer. And my thing about it is this. So you find yourself jealous of a past something. Okay? But that past something has ended. Correct? Like, it's past something. So whether they dated, whether it was a situationship, whether they hook up, whatever it was, it ended. So you are finding yourself jealous of a situation that is no longer. So are you going to focus on the relationship that is still going, the relationship with your partner, or are you going to focus on something that did not last? Are you finding yourself jealous of a person that did not work out with your partner, then just resting in the fact and being secure in what you're building with that person right now?
And the rebuttal would be, but they had some, so like who knows? But who knows what, like there might be something left.
No, I think people really need to understand and this is beyond jealousy for a second, but people really need to become okay with when things end. Like, they ended for a reason. You know, some people really harbor and hold on to, like, these breakups. And, I promise, and I won't say I promise you. I won't promise you. But it's very likely.
More times than not.
That it ended for a reason. You know, it wasn't meant to last.
You only just wake up and be like,
it wasn't meant to last. Yeah. So you're finding yourself jealous of and, harboring these bad feelings where they turn into, nastiness with the person. And now you're telling stories and doing all this extra stuff. Like Charles said, you're doing the absolute most over a situation that was not meant to last. So you're focusing on you're focusing on a small detail in the larger picture. You're looking at
small detail in a larger picture.
You really are. But you're thinking that the grass is greener on the other side.
But you're only seeing it through a little sliver in the fence. You only see a sliver of the grass. You don't see the whole lawn.
You have to focus on what you're building, what you're growing, not what that person experienced before you even got into the picture. And if you're secure in who you are and you're secure in what you're building, none of that should really even matter.
You could be jealous of something that was trash.
You could be envious of something you don't even want. You couldn't even.
If it was real reality, you wouldn't want it.
You wouldn't want it, and like you're a lot of times you're basing this also off of your perception of what that was in the first place. Like, have you really asked your partner what that was? Why it ended, why it didn't work, why that person wasn't for them? Probably not. You're probably going off of who you perceive that other person to be and whether maybe they have something you don't have or maybe you want something that they have. So you deem it better than what you're building with your person. And in reality, it could be terrible. Trash, basura, and you're over here jealous over it. Like, you really have to check yourself because it's not to me, it's not your place to tell your partner who they can and cannot be friends with. And you have to check your own security at the door and make sure that you're focused on what you're doing now, not on something that doesn't even matter at this point.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's all I gotta
You know what
say.
I'm saying? That's it.
Is that on that? You answered my other question too, by the way.
There we go.
So,
all right, y'all.
until another episode.
It's the Hopefull Romantics Podcast. Stay hopeful.